Good morning. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you now. Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
okay. Yeah, I just again with these newfangled switches, I always got to make sure I've got the right microphone turned on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Um, just I'm a little distracted. I'm hearing my girls went out for this morning and they're sneaking back in, but I think they're trying to be very very quiet, so we're not disturbed. All right. Well, anyway, yeah, I'll look back and I'll look around. Who knows where that's going to take us? But let's dive in and find out, shall we? So, the science of mind teaching draws the curious from all traditional religions. People who feel the dogma that defines so much of their religious experience is just too restricting and lacking in fulfilling explanations, and they find here the logic that fills the gaps delegated to blind faith in the churches of their childhoods. So, my journey started in one of the traditional Protestant religions and one of the many enveloped by the umbrella of Christianity. And I differentiate Protestant as opposed to Catholic, which has been so much in the news this last week. Congratulations to their new pope and perhaps a continuing of Francis's direction. We'll see how that develops. But the story of Jesus formed the nexus of my upbringing experience, and the teachings of Jesus actually closely parallel the teachings of the science of mind. And truthfully, if the many traditional Christian churches confine themselves to simply spreading the teachings of the teacher Jesus instead of developing a judgmental hierarchy developed around worshiping the person, not only would science of mind have really no reason to exist, the over 45,000 Christian denominations would just be one, the one, the one we speak of in the science of mind, the one mind from which we all spring, the one source, the infinite power that is our unity. Now, the first century teacher Jesus never set himself apart from others. He never proclaimed himself higher or better in any special way. His words, the message of Jesus, empower everyone. And only the restricted thinking, the self imposed filters attached to the ears who hear the words, place his person on this imaginary pedestal. I suspect it is easier to empower some mystical force than to shoulder responsibility ourselves. Oh, if only Jesus hadn't left us with, "He that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do." This is not an invocation of his own power being dependent on our worship of him, but a pronouncement that anyone who embraces his belief as he does can produce the same experiences. And doing so can become second nature to us, unfolding not in the guise of miracles, but being revealed as our ordinary expectation. Now, when he was baptized, Jesus is said to have well, I don't know if he said it, this way it's described, and Jesus, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water. And lo, the heavens were opened unto him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lighting upon him. Now, frequent consumers of my little lessons here and reflected this morning in Linda's opening meditation know a frequent theme is paying attention So when divine revelation occurs, we don't miss it because we're expecting something different. You see, a baptism is, by definition, an introduction. And although commonly conjoined with one's introduction to some faith-based theology, try saying that fast real 3 times, the term baptism of fire is also commonly used to describe one's first experience with the realities related to stressful occurrences. Jesus experiencing his introduction to spirit as a dove lighting upon him demonstrates our own revelations are likely to be subtle and reserved. If we are expecting fireworks and trumpets, the encounter may pass by us completely unnoticed. So, what should we look for to see spirit in action? Well, I thought you would never ask. I have been noticing, for example, the automatic charges for my auto insurance have been impactful of late. I drive a 15-year-old car and have a good driving record, so the idea of shopping it around has been fermenting for a while. I've been planting a seed, you see. Finally, the day arrived when we had to purchase a car for our daughter to use in furthering her education. We lamented having to add a third car and a 20-year-old driver to our policies, but imagine our surprise after the machine stopped whirling and the wheels stopped spinning and the numbers popped up, revealing I can insure all 3 of our cars now with all 3 drivers for just a few dollars more than I am now paying for my car alone. Bam! Now the premium my wife was paying for her car loan can be used to pay down the principal on the new car, saving thousands in interest over the life of the loan. Now we have a new car, and my wife and daughter drove it back to Tampa, where our daughter is in school and about to start her internship. And last week, a client of mine finally coordinated an appointment with a high-maintenance homeowner in their community to meet and discuss the items that needed to be resolved to bring their properties into alignment with the community standards. The appointment was set for 10 a.m. Monday. My wife was flying back from Tampa and taking the tri-rail from the airport to the station nearest our home, arriving at 10:20. I had already alerted my wife she would need to wait at the station for me to pick her up because there was no way I could change the client appointment. God had spoken. As much as I fretted about my wife having to wait, I put it out of my mind with a single thought. Spirit has my back. It is out of my hands. I arrived a little early for the appointment and parked by the community pool to wait for the others to arrive, then thought, well, maybe they're already at one of the 4 homes we need to look at, so I drove to the most obvious one. And no one was there, so coming back out of that circle, I turned the corner and saw the president of the community standing outside his home. I drove over to where he was and put my window down as he approached my car. His first words were that canceled on me. Okay, says I, and I told him about my wife arriving home. Says he, no point in being here today, go pick her up. I arrived at the station 2 minutes ahead of the train. When we leave the details to Spirit, you see, Spirit finds a way. We just need to recognize and appreciate the wins, no matter how trivial they may seem in the moment, like a dove descending. We also say in our teaching, treat and move your feet. Jesus reportedly once said, render unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. We do our mental work to evoke Spirit's creation's unfolding, but we take the steps we must take to open the doors to our prosperity. If we are to eat, we can pray for a bountiful harvest, but If we do not plant the crop, what bounty can we expect? Now, several months ago, another example, I had a tire blowout on I-95 and a chain of blessings followed. First, what could have been a catastrophic event was not. Credit my comfort behind the wheel, my expectation of spiritual blessings, or the dumb luck bestowed upon the simple and ignorant, but I was able to get across 3 lanes of rapidly moving traffic to a soft landing on a spacious section of shoulder on a tire with a hole the size of a coffee cup in its sidewall. I had the tools to change the tire, but it was hot and muggy South Florida day, so it was not something I was looking forward to. Before I could crack the first lug nut, a road ranger pulled up behind me. Well, I was not too proud to turn the project over to a professional and was impressed by how easy the chore was completed with his cordless impact wrench and hydraulic floor jack. Spirit didn't need to kick me twice to get me to move my feet. I purchased both for my car the next day. And last week, I attended a meeting at another client community, a meeting I really did not need to attend, but did so anyway just to show support. And as I pulled out of the parking lot to go home at 9:30 at night, I felt that awareness that something was amiss. Another flat tire, down to the rim. The new floor jack had never been out of its box, but turned out to be just able to slip under the jacking stud of my car with the rim all the way on the ground. Its maximum extension was just a hair more than needed to get the fully inflated spare tire onto the car, and the impact wrench made short work of zipping off the lug nuts and securing the spare in place. By moving my feet, by rendering unto Caesar, I was prepared to do what needed to be done and actually had a little bit of fun doing it. Looking around, I see where sometimes misplaced beliefs create only partially thought through results. An executive order, for example, can remove flow rate restrictions on your shower head, but there will still be no water in your shower if the infrastructure to deliver it is in ruins. All the water in the world is useless if it is rendered unsafe to touch because the people responsible for making it safe are sent packing without reason. The exercise of power without empathy to destroy without a plan to rebuild is incompatible with spiritual enlightenment. Spirit is empowered by love, and spirit is all of us. To be reckless or mean-spirited, to place others in contempt, is acting outside of spiritual alignment. We are free to choose, and we are free to experience the consequences of our choices. The power that is spirit is listening to us right now. My request to everyone is to start formulating in your mind a picture of Project 2029. Start thinking about how a spiritually driven society rebuilds on the ashes of our civilization, recognizing where improvements can be made while rebuilding the soul of our community. Spirit never stops creating. As we are and in its image, we cannot stop creating. When we achieve our goals, when we attain the mountaintop, we cannot rest. We cannot declare victory and rest on our laurels, happy and content. We must immediately turn our attention to either a new ascension or defending the hill upon which we stand, because what we got, somebody else wants. And if we are not defending it or moving on from it, we are not creating. And that state of being does not exist. even in death, we continue to create. One way or another, our physical body returns to the earth, contributing to its evolution. The people we knew in life continue to be affected by our influence, and they influence others. Our focus in these 90 minutes or so this morning is the science of mind, but its teachings are not original to any of us. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, has been gone for more than half a century, and his thoughts were not original to him. Spirit continues to create through us, as us, and beyond. We remain open at the top, always ready to process new evidence, newly formulated ideas. Recent observations from the James Webb Telescope suggest the much touted Big Bang Theory may have been more of a big bounce, an event wherein a previous incarnation of the universe collapsed in on itself and exploded back out into the universe we populate today. Now, not to brag, but this is the theory I have always projected but never possessed the wherewithal to prove. Don't have time on the Webb telescope. So now ain't that something? Turns out I was right. At least until new evidence suggests a better theory. Remembering today all our mothers and mother avatars who have made us who we are. I thank you for your attention.